Yeah?
Are you doing pose?
Yeah?
Why?
I needed to go pose.
Yeah, but why are you doing pose during work hours?
Because I needed to go pose.
Yeah, but I don't pay you to do pose, Alan.
You know you can't keep me from doing pose, right?
Yes, I can, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
In this video, I'm going to teach you how to stop the biggest overtime causes that employees do to milk the clock, do whatever, to make your payroll be unnecessarily, completely out of controllably high. Doesn't matter if you have 100 employees. I'm going to show you how to do this because the people that I've taught over hundreds of clients have learned how to do this. They were able to scale. The ones that didn't are stuck where they are. So I'm literally framing this episode as no shit, literally stops overtime. And let me tell you, so in my own world, in my own service business, what I found a few years back, about 7 or 8 years ago, I noticed that I had this big trend all of a sudden of 30 to 40 hours of overtime. And it was every week. And it didn't matter if we made a lot of money or if we were losing money that week, busy or not busy. It just seemed like it was always 33 to 35 hours overtime. Well, you do the calculations of that every week, that's a lot of money. I mean, that honestly, a lot of times was my dollar amount that I either lost money or should have made money. And I'm like, we're not even busy this week and we're slated to barely make any money. Why do we have 35 hours overtime? And it was super consistent and it was really mind boggling to me. So I started to watch the trucks. That's one thing I did. But the very first thing I did was, I don't work there. And so, I mean, I own the company. I built it up to where management runs it. And I don't even have an office there. If you watch one of my other podcasts, know about me. So, I have achieved the freedom and the dream of doing that. And I became a consultant and a business coach. And that's why I'm making this video today. So I can teach you to not make these same mistakes some of these aren't even mistakes. They're what you learn of how to run a business and how to operate one better and more profitably. So I started watching the GPS trucks, watching that, and kind of saw, nothing really nutty on that. So I thought one morning I would go in and I'm going to observe the morning, and then I would stay and wait, and later on find out how the whole day went. So I planned the whole day at my shop in office, our corporate office, which is in Ponder, Texas, just north of Dallas, Fort Worth. And so I got there super early. Most technicians arrive around 6:30 to 7 o'clock. So I decided to get there around 6. My stepdad, who's one of my works for me, and he's our shop foreman and kind of the shop manager. And he always gets there at 6. And so I thought I'd get there, talk to him for a while, and then just observe, see what's going on. Now, at the time, we had probably around 52 employees. That's counting staff and management. And so really, we had about 15 to 17 trucks out going on the road in the morning. And so I show up, talk to my stepdad Rory, having a good time, and all of a sudden you start seeing the trickle, like some shop guys show up. And I watched the shop guys, what they did in the morning real quick to see, what their routine was. And I didn't want to go in there and like disturb them, because I don't work there. So anytime I show up, everybody wants to talk, they get out of the routine. I wanted to make myself as much of a ghost as I could. So I kind of peek around the corner and I look around, or I might go running through really quick, and act like I'm on a mission to do something, and which I often did, because I'd go to the cabin and I'd show up, get a trailer and grab some tools, go to my cabin to work on it and stuff. So I noticed some things about them. I took some notes, mentally, not writing them down or anything, and I then the shop guy, I mean the workers, the field guys started showing up. Sales guys start showing up. And I decided I'd walk around, and our shop was about this is our old shop. We have a new one now, but that shop back then was about 12,000 square feet, and it was surrounded by shop. Our shop, our warehouse, our maintenance bay, all this stuff, and you could get to all of that through one of two doors. So you could literally go around, go out one door of the office, go all the way around, and come in through another door of the office. Well, I decided to go out the west door, where I'd come all the way back around to the southwest door, to the northeast door of the office. So I'd see everybody and everything they're doing while I was doing it. So I noticed as I went out the southwest door initially, is I saw all the crew leaders talking with maybe one, not even two, of the helpers out there. I'm like, okay. And there was not every crew leader, but a lot of them. And so I'm like, okay, take a note, talk to them for a minute, just act like I'm busy. Then I walk around and I go through the shop, and I see, well, before I get to the shop, I see we have another bay on the opposite side. I see a couple guys getting working, loading their trucks. I go through the shop. All four guys are in the shop chit chatting. I mean, not erroneously, they were doing their work. As soon as I opened the shop door, which you could not see from my general manager's office, I left my general manager's office and went left. If I had gone right, up and around the corner is the men's locker room bathroom. Well, I opened the shop door, and literally 15 feet on the left is the locker room door that leads into the men's bathroom, which there's one. And by the way, there is another commode out in the shop, so I don't know why they weren't using that one, because they had two toilets in there, that other one, but they did what they did, and it is what it is. So I okay. I open the door to the shop, and there's a line to poop. Of course, I look at that, and I walk up to everybody, laughing, hi, everybody, and I walk into the locker room. And by the way, there's about 8 people in line to poop. Like, they're literally just standing there, chit-chatting, talking, like, kind of like at the water cooler, but in the poop line. By the way, there's 2 toilets out in the shop that they know about, probably, I would think. Well, I don't know how they could not know about it. That's nobody's even using. Yet there's a line, and they use this bathroom for some reason. And so, yes, I go to everybody, are you clocked in? And it was kind of a joke, and they all said yes, laughing. Well, I wasn't laughing, because I'm like, okay, if we're standing in line, how much would it take for someone to poop for you to waste time before you finally got out on the field and left left? And I started calculating, like, I wonder how long they're here, but it didn't take long. I just said, if you have to poop, go clock out. And they all looked at me. I'm like, I am not kidding. Go clock out. You can poop and then clock back in. I'm not paying you to poop. So literally everybody in line went and clocked out. I was astonished. They didn't even say, okay, forget it. They all had to poop. They timed their life to come clock in and poop. So I then started to notice, when I was telling you about watching the GPSs about a week later, that what was happening now is we live in Texas, so it's hot. Even in the wintertime, it can be a lot warm. They were all going to QuickTrip or Buc-ee's to poop, getting ice, getting their drinks, filling up on gas, and pooping in the morning. So nobody was getting to their jobs at the allotted time, which is 8:45 is the target date, because we're supposed to start at 9 in the field at the house, the client's house, which are normally houses. 8:45, 15 minutes early is what you're supposed to time your day to get there for, and that was an SOP. clearly not being managed very well, because when we looked at the clock, not only even the week after we stopped them pooping at the shop, nothing really changed. The overtime went down a little bit, like 25 hours that next week. So that consistently 35, we cut 10 hours. Well, then I see and I start tracking these trucks, going on the logs and seeing the last 5 days how long they were at Buc-ee's or QT. As long as they were, it would have made up for the other 20 hours, 25 hours. So what I did was, no more QT in the morning. We bought an ice maker so they can get ice at the shop. I said, told John, my gentleman, buy an ice maker. They get ice there. That'll save us on buying ice every day. Anyway, you have 20 trucks getting ice every day, even though it's $1.50 a bag of ice. You do the math. That I think that ice machine costs like $700-800, maybe $1,000. I don't know, but we still have it, and this was 8 years ago, like I said, and we still, how many years ago it was, but we still have the ice machine still making ice. So yeah. So the idea was no more getting gas and ice and drinks in the morning. You can only get your ice at the shop, but you cannot get gas until you're coming home. We didn't have overtime. I think the combined overtime we had in the next 4 months in our buying season / busy season was less than 25 hours combined for like 3 to 4 months. That's how much it's. So let's do the math. I'm going to pull my calculator out. So you take 33 hours. I'll go even out. 35 hours. You take a guy that's making, let's just say, and this is low for my company, we'll go $25 an hour. Okay, 25 times 1.5, 3750 times 35. So a week, it was costing me $1,312.50 of OT alone, not work time. This was This is the no shit time. Like, they're not supposed to poop now, right? It's not, no, don't get gas. Because what happens when they get gas at night, guess what? They're hurried up and go home. In the morning, they're in no real big hurry to get to the job. But when they want to come home, they have to get gas then. Guess what? They get gas fast. And that's what was happening. So you take 1312, times 4, that's $5,000 a month straight into my pocket. And by the way, I could feel it. Well, you times that by 52, $273,000 we saved in a year. And by the way, we could see it on the payroll. $273,000. When you're a $5 million company, and at the time we were about a $4 million company. Can you $273,000? That's like doubling my profits almost. And by the way, we felt it. It wasn't exactly 273. That's just the easy math. But we definitely saw $150,000 swing for the year. Big time. Just for saving overtime. So what is overtime to you? I mean, what are you doing to make sure that you guys aren't getting overtime? I mean, are you practicing these things that you're preaching? If you're out there if you're out in a truck still, which you're trying not to be, if you want to run a business that doesn't operate without you or efficiently without you, is quite frankly, you gotta walk the walk. So you got to get gas at night. You got to not poop on the clock. You have to, all this kind of stuff you have to start doing so that they follow in suit, and it is culture. And so that's the main gig that you're going to do. So why do I say all this? Because all of this is about how to make more money. And this is real life, legitimate situations that come up to do it. All right, so the whole idea here is to start creating SOPs and stuff like that. And a way to do this is really try to figure out what is done in the past. What have people done in the past? So there's the Frederick Winslow Taylor, the father of the scientific method back in the 1900s. He introduced SOPs to factories, showing the structural steps that could take shoveling time from 14 hours to just 4. In the past, the man has been first. In the future, the system must be first. The lesson is documenting best practices slashes labor hours. So the better SOPs you have to document how to make them better and then train on that, that's what it is. Toyota, I mean, they cut waste by making every process I hate that word. Repeatable, replicable. Workers followed standard work flow charts, right? Minimizing overtime while providing quality. Without standards, there can be no improvement. That's from their CEO. SOPs create that baseline, not to be micromanaging, but to scale. And then Florence Nightingale, SOPs in the Crimean War. Back in 1850, man, she reduced hospital death rates from 42 to 2% by writing procedural manuals for cleanliness and care. So here we go, a quote, to understand God's thoughts, we must study statistics. Even in chaos, documented routines save time and lives. McDonald's, I mean, look at them. All beef patty, blah, 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 right? Ray Kroc turned the fast food industry on an empire into one tool, repeatable manual for every single task. So when you're out looking at your business, you're trying to figure out what makes you more money. Document. Have a routine in the morning. Do not poop at work. That is literally an SOP at my business. And so the whole thing of teaching here is trying to get you that SOPs aren't bureaucracy. They're the profit protection armor. They are really what makes your business operate. And so a lot of 1 million and below businesses, they don't have written documentation. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not big on writing like an SOP, like our poop SOP. It's just we talk about it. It's not in a manual. It might be actually, that one actually might be in our handbook. Our route on that one. So, but a lot of other ones that we do, like taking pictures, having a picture for every single item that we're going to inspect in our business. There's got to be a picture. And then there also has to be a picture after, an after picture once it's been corrected. So here's the before, here's the after. It's an SOP. However, I don't have it written down. Probably one of the biggest failures I have is that I don't sit there and write them down. Why? I've actually coached people that other coaches, and you'll look behind them on their bookshelves, and there'll be binders upon binders upon binders of SOPs. And you know who looks at them? Nobody. Dust. And that's the problem. What I feel, SOPs need to become culture, and they need to be trained upon, and they do need to be written into meetings. The one thing that you do, and now that you can do it on Zoom, I suggest you always do, even if everybody's in person, you do some type of AI Zoom meeting component to it, or listening to and it'll spit out the agenda for that meeting, and you take that agenda, or not that, well, you do it for the agenda too, write up how to do a meeting, but I'm talking about after fact, is when you do a meeting with people, have it recorded, have the AI study and give you all the notes for it and stuff, and then you put it in your schedule, that note, into that date, and you can always go back to it to read it up, to have to do another meeting about it, and all that kind of stuff. It's just a very, very good tool to do. And so, guys, no shit, literally stopped overtime. So remember, when you're looking at your overtime stuff, what is happening, where can you look to see? I would look at what are they doing, but when you're not around, I'd be looking at their trucks to see if they're veering off, seeing how long they're at. You can actually see how long they stop at convenience stores to get gas, how long they're there. You can start making sure they get gas at night, because they're always in a hurry to get home, but they're never in a hurry in the morning. And so these are tricks and trips you can do for OT. So thank you. By the way, if you want to work with me at the end of this, there is a little QR code that you can go to my website and click on make an appointment and come do a free session with me. I'll be glad to help you with your overtime or how to just make more money. Thank you. Chad Murray out.